I figure it's time for me to do another Oak Street Health. Ha ha! Let me tell you my story about Oak Street Health and why you need to walk away from them now. If you're involved with Oak Street Health, call them up and go, sorry, I decided to go see a real, actual medical doctor at a real medical clinic. Okay? Let me tell you how this all started. I get a knock on my door. I got a doorbell, but I think they knocked on my door. I sat there and the whole thing is I opened it up and a couple of sweet ladies, and they're telling me about Oak Street Health. I didn't know nothing about it. They told me it's for people of age that are elderly, senior citizens like me. That sounded pretty good. And the fact they're actually come and pick me up and take me over there. Yeah, I was hook, line, and sinker. I thought, yes, sir, that sounds outstanding. Let me do it. So I go out to their clinic expecting to see a medical doctor. If you go to a clinic that is a medical clinic, you're expected to see a medical doctor, right? Makes sense to me. In Atrium, when I scheduled an appointment, I saw an actual doctor that had MD. He went to medical school, got a medical degree. So I go in there, and man, I tell you what, those ladies are so sweet. The people sitting in the lobby were wonderful. Chit-chatting, talking. I was talking about back in my old rock and roll days and having fun and Double Door Inn. And I mean, it was wonderful. So I go sit in the room, and this African-American lady walks in. Youngin'. She's a young girl. I thought, she's a young doctor. So I'm sitting here and I'm looking, and I noticed something about the fact that she's a nurse practitioner. And I'm like, this is awfully odd. I'm going to a facility that's a medical facility, and my first visit's with a nurse practitioner. Let me tell you how it normally works. When you see a doctor and the doctor talks to you, gives you a physical, and goes over your assessment of your history of problems that you've got, prescribes you medication that you might need. And then your next visit usually is with his nurse practitioner because he's a busy man or a busy woman. They got things they got to do, right? That makes sense. So why is it on my first visit I'm seeing a nurse practitioner? What is that all about? And I got to get some water. What is that all about? So I start going back every 3 months. And I think something was going on. I got sick or something. But every time I went over there, it was for a nurse practitioner. And I began to wonder if they even had a medical doctor. And I was really getting confused. So it came down to a problem that I had, and I wanted to get them to diagnose me. And the nurse practitioner wouldn't do it. She said, we got to refer you out, and you need to go to a specialist to have them diagnose your problem. And I'm like, huh? Wait a minute. So what I could not figure out is that I finally, after about 8-9 months of going through this, I said something's not smelling right with this Oak Street Health. Something's not smelling right. So I told him, I called him up. Now I was pissed off. I said, I want to talk to an actual doctor. Somebody that has a medical degree and graduated from medical school. Not a problem, Mr. Crozier. We'll set that up for you. They set it up and it's going to be like 3 weeks for me to see a doctor. And I'm already a patient for Oak Street Health. 3 weeks to see a doctor. So I did this. I called him up and I said, I'm done with Oak Street Health. I'm done with you, buds. You haven't helped me out at all. You have to refer me out for diagnosis because you can't diagnose in the clinic. I called Atrium. Dr. Blake Goodbar. I called and scheduled an appointment. I got an appointment within 2 weeks, mainly because I was going back as a patient to him. But in 2 weeks, I went to see an actual medical doctor. My gastrointestinal doctor, who I did see when I went over there, now has me see his nurse practitioner or PA, physician assistant, because he's a busy man. He's doing surgeries. So guys, Oak Street Health, I'm going to tell you this over and over again. If you're using them, tell them goodbye. Bye-bye, Oak Street Health. Bye-bye. And if you're involved with their senior activities, go to your Parks and Recs. There's a lot of stuff in Parks and Recs for you. And the YMCA and YWCA has great activities for you. Your church, if you're a churchgoer, has great activities for you. I'm going to tell you what, Oak Street Health is nothing more than CVS's way of ripping off Medicare. My doctor told me, basically, even for my age, I only need to see him but once a year for a physical. I'm going twice a year because I have diabetes. Okay? The reason why I'm making another Oak Street Health is that it started out with great intentions and it ended up being nothing but a scam for Medicaid by CVS. It's a scam. The last thing I'm going to talk about is that when I called up United Healthcare and told them about Oak Street Health, and I said, I'm going back to Atrium. I'm going back to Atrium to Dr. Blake Goodbar. And you know what he told me? Fantastic. You're going to be an in-network. We love that. In-network. And I said, you mean Oak Street Health is not in your network? No, they are not. So I'm telling people do 2 things. One is get the hell away from AARP. It is a stupidity ripoff. I don't get any of their garbage no more at all, period. And I'm not a member of the AARP. Also, I'm going to tell you that Oak Street Health, you need to leave now and get you an actual medical doctor at a real medical clinic. Appreciate you watching, guys, and quite an evening it is.